Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Roeing's IT Solutions Top of Mind. My name is Steve Ricketts. I'm Director of Technical Services. We're here to talk to you today about being a remote worker. One of the big challenges that we're all having to face today is how to be an effective remote worker. We're going to talk to you about using Microsoft Office 365 and more specifically Microsoft Teams. But there's a lot of other things that you've got to think about when you're a remote worker. And one of the things that we kind of wanted to title this episode was being present without being present. So when you think about the term remote worker, lots of things come to mind, but there are some general maintenance or general guidelines that you can follow that kind of make this an easier process for all of us. So first things to think about right off the bat, you got to use a video, right? I mean, we're remote workers. You still want to connect with people at the office. So use that video when possible. Everyone loves to see a smiling face. Make sure you check your equipment. Make sure you check your camera, your microphone, your headset. And then also, one of the big things that a lot of people don't think about when they're being a remote worker, and especially when they're on webcam, is consider your environment. What kind of background noise do you hear? Do you have a fan going? Do you have the radio on? Does your family know that you're working? You want to make sure that they understand that you are online. And we've all seen that video on social media of where the gentleman's on CNN or MSNBC trying to have a serious conversation about something, and his kids bust into the room and screaming, and then poor nanny has to drag him out by their feet. You certainly don't want that to happen. The other thing to think about is your pets. You know, you don't want your dog barking in the background or the cat jumping in front of the webcam as you're trying to make a presentation or trying to maintain your composure for a client or your other teammates. It might add some or make for some funny ad libs later on to talk about, but during that time, you certainly don't want that. So those are things that you can just think about right off the bat before you jump online. So we're going to use Microsoft Teams today, and we're going to talk about just going through a quick synopsis of what it's like to create or join a meeting in Microsoft Teams. So if you have your Microsoft Teams open now, you can see up in the right-hand corner, you'll see that Meet Now or the New Meeting buttons. And that allows you to create meetings now, just go live and invite people right off the bat, or schedule a meeting right through your calendar, and it'll send the appropriate links, phone numbers, all those things in an email composed to the people that you invite. Also, you can see there on the screen, there's a little tidbit over there where you can even add by phone number. So if you know someone's personal cell phone number, you can add their number right directly, and they'll get a message and notification to be able to join by audio. So now it's time to meet. So what, right? So we when we join up to a Microsoft Teams meeting, first things you're going to do is get this little box that says, hey, join now. And before you even join, you want to make sure that all of these things are checked. So this is where you can check to make sure your camera's on and off. Some people like to have their camera on as soon as they join. Others like to kind of go in stealth mode and have the camera off and then turn it on once they're in there. But you can control all these things without even going into the meeting. You can mute, unmute your microphone, blur your background if you've got something crazy going on behind you. I've got the whole floating head thing going on here thanks to the green screen. But you might want to blur your background if you don't want to see, let the participants see behind you what's behind you. Also, double check and customize your audio input and output. You know, your microphone may be too sensitive, or making sure that it's playing out of the sound in your speakers or in your headset if you're using a headset. All those options can be controlled before you even join to the meeting. So on the next slide we're going to jump into is actually going to be a video of a teammate of mine joining or creating and kind of going through some of the bits and pieces of the basics of joining a Microsoft Teams office or meeting. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. So here you go. We've got the standard Microsoft Teams interface, got today's calendar up. And we're going to kind of go through the process of creating a meeting, joining the meeting, and kind of go through some of the options for you. So here we go. So here we are on today's date, going up, and he's going to do a live meeting. JJ, I'm obviously not JJ, but JJ put this together for me. Thank you very much. He's checking his options here. He's checking his camera on and off, turned his camera on, and boom, there's JJ. He's also going to check his audio or blurring his background. And then he can also check some of his audio settings here in a minute. He will, right here, you can see where he's checking to make sure his output on the speakers is correct. Is the microphone the one he wants to? And you can also make a test call right there without ever joining the call. You can also check his camera to make sure that he's, using either an external webcam or he's using the built-in one. So now he's going to join the meeting. He's going to jump right in. He's going to pop right into the meeting. Once he's in the meeting, you've got all your options down there at the bottom. Once again, you can turn cameras on, microphone on and off, mute, unmute yourself. You can also go through all your different actions as far as options that you have for the meeting. Here's where you can invite someone, and here you can see he's trying to invite me by name, email address, or you can also add by telephone number if you know someone's telephone number, and they'll get a notification right away for this meeting, and they can join via audio. There's some of your other options where you can do a recording, you can do meeting notes, you can get the details of the meeting. Here's where you can, the dial-in number, you can paste that in, copy it, send it in an email, even send it in a text if you wanted to, so someone can join in the meeting via phone audio if they're not at a desktop or a workstation. Also, this is meeting chat, and meeting chat is also, it's not just a chat, it's actually a full featured client to where you can add attachments, you can add things into the meeting to share with the other participants, and actually the best thing about that is that they're saved and you can refer to them later. That is a huge useful tool when it comes to utilizing Microsoft Teams. So that was one. This is a breakdown a little bit further of that in that meeting chat that I talked about, is it saving it for later. As you can see, that blow up down there, a little closer picture, shows that you can add attachments, GIFs if you want to make it a little fun and add some GIFs into the meeting. But those can be files, they can be OneNotes. All of those things tie together with Office 365 and Microsoft Teams in order to make a full-fledged collaboration platform for your team, which in today's world is super important. So thanks for tuning in on this quick top of the mind about being a remote worker. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, or come visit us at www.roeing.com.